the ATM, and the aftermath. I never really considered myself a resentful man. Practical, yes. Driven, absolutely. But bitterness, that wasn't me. Yet, here I am, 34 years old, a senior project manager for a luxury resort construction firm in Colorado, and I'm looking back at a lifetime of being my family's personal ATM, culminating in a betrayal that finally snapped something inside me, the golden child and the ghost. I moved to Colorado 3 years ago for a promotion, leaving behind my hometown, friends, and family in Ohio. Still, I stayed connected, sending money home, checking in weekly, trying to be present even from 200 meters away. My younger brother, Mason, Dunny Knife, was always the favorite. It's not bitterness, just fact. My baseball games were skipped for his soccer practice, even though I was good enough to almost get scouted for college before a shoulder injury. Mason quit soccer after one season and got a new PlayStation. When I graduated college with an engineering degree, my parents barely stayed for the ceremony, citing my grandmother's health. When Mason dropped out after 2 semesters of partying, they co-signed his apartment lease. You get the picture. Still, I loved Mason. He's my brother. 4 years ago, he came to me with an idea for a car detailing shop. He had the passion, but zero business sense and no credit. Banks laughed him out. So, I, the fool, co-signed a $40,000 small business loan and put down an additional $15,000 of my own money for initial equipment. I postponed buying a new truck and drove a beat-up car with $200. 0 miles, trusting his promise to have my name off the loan in a year. Tops, 4 years later, my name is still on that loan. I've made every single $1, 120 monthly payment. Meanwhile, his Instagram is full of self-made posts, pictures of him detailing McLarens for CEOs, captions about building from brick. I never asked for credit. I never posted about helping him. I believe that's what brothers do. The betrayal. Last year, Mason met Elise at a charity gala, not a bar, not Tinder. A gala, her family is wealthy, country club members. Her father's a neurosurgeon. Her mother's family owns half the county's real estate. Suddenly, Mason was different. Nikes traded for loafers. Some are used as a verb. He acted like he came from money. At Christmas this year, I visited. Mason barely spoke to me. He introduced me to Elise as Jake, my cousin who moved out west. When I corrected him, he laughed it off. But later, I overheard him telling her I was the black sheep who couldn't handle the pressure of staying in Ohio, the pressure of watching him get everything handed to him. Apparently, at dinner, my mom bragged about how they supported entrepreneurship by helping Mason start his business. Smiling at Elise's parents, I nearly choked on my turkey. My dad shot me that warning look. Don't you dare make a scene. The same look I'd gotten since I was 10. Keep quiet. Keep the peace. Keep the myth alive. When I tried to show pictures of the 50 million resort project I was leading, my dad cut me off. Nobody wants to hear about concrete foundations at Christmas dinner. Jake. 5 minutes later, Mason spent 20 minutes detailing a doctor's Tesla. Double standards. Never ending, but I let it slide. Family. Right? The uninvited guest. Last week, my cousin Tara posted a photo on Facebook. Can't wait for the Williams-Parker wedding this weekend. Mason and Elise. My brother was getting married. And nobody told me. I called my mom, my hands shaking. Hey, Mom, how's everything back home? Oh, fine. Your father's back is acting up again, but you know how he is. Won't see the doctor. She sounded distracted. Probably prepping for the wedding I wasn't supposed to know about. So, I was just on Facebook and saw something interesting. Tara posted about Mason getting married this weekend. The silence on the other end was deafening. How did you find out about that? Her voice dropped to that tone she used when caught in a lie. It's true. What the hell? Mom, why am I just finding out about this now? My voice cracked. She sighed, that martyred sound she'd perfected. Mason and Elise wanted to keep it small, just immediate family and close friends. The words hit me like a physical blow. I am immediate family. I'm his brother. You know what I mean, she replied, dismissively. People who are present in his life. Something inside me snapped. All those years of sending money, being the responsible one, putting my life on hold for them, and this was my reward. I hung up. My reflection stared back at me. A stranger, the dutiful son, the supportive brother, the family ATM. I opened my laptop and booked a flight to Ohio. $1, $200 for a last-minute ticket. I used my emergency credit card. Finding out you've been erased from your family qualifies as an emergency. Right? They wanted me absent. Fine. I'd show up and make my absence permanent. The confrontation, landing in Cleveland. I drove straight to my parents' house. Maybe it was a miscommunication. I thought, maybe a surprise. I was dead wrong. My mom opened the door, looking like she'd seen a ghost. In a fancy mother of the groom outfit. Jake, what are you doing here? She was already defensive. What do you think I'm doing here? My brother's getting married tomorrow, and I wasn't invited. She let me in reluctantly. My dad was at the kitchen table, newspaper in hand, the same disapproving look I'd seen my whole life. Son, this is unexpected. Yeah, no kidding. So is finding out about Mason's wedding through Facebook. My mom sighed. We were going to call you after. It's complicated, uncomplicated for me, I said. Then it all started spilling out. Mason had told Elise and her family he built his business from nothing, a self-made entrepreneur who never took handouts. He claimed his family was financially comfortable but distant. He even told them I was a distant cousin, jealous of his success, trying to mooch off him. He's trying to make a good impression on her family. My mom explained, they're very successful people. He didn't want them to know he needed help. Help? I co-signed his freaking business loan. My name is still on it. I've been making the payments for 4 years. My dad finally looked up. Keep your voice down. Mason and Elise are at the rehearsal dinner. I paced. This house, full of memories, felt alien, and that's not all. Mom, that $12 0 for family expenses 6 months ago. Was that for this wedding? Her averted eyes told me everything. You have to understand, she began. The Parkers are paying for most of it, but we needed to contribute. We couldn't look like we couldn't afford to help with our own son's wedding. We needed to look good for the Parkers. She wasn't even trying to hide it. And my feelings don't matter. My dad scoffed. Oh, here we go with the feelings again. You've always been too sensitive. Mason knows how to play the game of lying, of taking my money while pretending I don't exist. It's not like you need the money, my mom said dismissively. No wife, no kids. What do you even spend it on up there in the mountains? Protein shakes and hiking boots. She laughed. I stared at her. I'm saving for a house. Mom, would you know if you ever asked about my life instead of just my bank account? I'd been working overtime for months, saving for a down payment on a house in Colorado with mountain views. That $12. CERN was a huge chunk of it. Well, when you decide to start a real life instead of playing mountain man, maybe we'll have something to talk about. My dad muttered. I felt like I'd been punched. So, you lied to me, took my money for a wedding I wasn't even invited to. You're being dramatic. My dad said, it's just a wedding. You can see the pictures after. Where are they having it? I asked. Jake, my mom started, a warning in her voice. Where is the wedding? Lakeview Gardens. My dad answered, but don't even think about. I was already heading for the door. Jake, please? My mom called after me. If you show up there tomorrow, you'll embarrass us all. Mason has worked so hard to build this relationship. No, Mom, I worked hard. I worked hard for every dollar I sent home. I worked hard to help Mason when no one else would. And this is how you repay me. By erasing me, I left without waiting for an answer. I spent the night staring at the ceiling in a hotel room, piecing together years of being used. By morning, I knew exactly what I had to do. The scene, Lakeview Gardens. I knew it cost a fortune, especially in June. I showed up an hour before the ceremony, dressed in a dark blue suit. Notier, casual but appropriate. I wanted to blend in, just enough to get past security. A guy with a clipboard stopped me. Name, Sir Jake Williams. I'm the groom's brother. He scanned his list. I'm sorry, sir, I don't see you on the guest list. I could see past him into the venue. Family, friends, my high school baseball coach, all dressed up to celebrate my brother while pretending I didn't exist. Look, just call Mason or my parents. They'll clear this up. He sighed and made a call. Minutes later, my mom hurried out, flustered. Jake, what are you doing here? We talked about this. No, you talked to... I never agreed to be erased from my own brother's life. She pulled me aside, lowering her voice. Please don't make a scene. The Parkers are inside. This is such an important day for Mason. Important enough to lie about who he is, who I am. Mason didn't want the in-laws asking questions about money. She hissed. You wouldn't understand. You're too blunt, always needing credit for things. That hit me like a slap. When had I ever asked for credit? When had I ever bragged? I helped because it was the right thing to do. I didn't need a parade. I wasn't the one flexing on Instagram, pretending to be a self-made king. I stayed quiet. I stayed solid. And this was the thanks. It didn't sting. It just clicked. Like flipping on a light in a room I should have left years ago. She didn't know me. None of them did. My dad appeared. Annoyed. Sonnen, You need to leave. This isn't the time or place. I want to talk to Mason. He's getting ready. He doesn't need this distraction. Distraction. Is that what I am now? My dad shook his head. You've always been smart with money. No kids. No house. No drama. You're fine. Why make this about you? Because I'd been responsible. I somehow deserved to be treated like this. Before I could respond, Mason appeared in his tux, looking perfect, except for the rage on his face. What the hell are you doing here? I heard my brother was getting married. Strangely, my invitation must have gotten lost in the mail. You should have known you weren't really invited. He snapped. It wasn't personal. It was strategic. You have a big mouth. You'd make it all about you, like you always do. I looked at him, his insecurities screaming. Make it about me. Cool theory. Bro, when exactly did I do that? When I silently co-signed your loan, or maybe when I funded your business without telling a soul. Oh, wait, maybe when I unknowingly bankrolled this wedding you didn't invite me to. Yeah, I'm clearly attention-seeking. He glanced nervously toward the entrance. You think you're so much better than everyone because you have a corporate job and a degree. Big freaking deal. I'm building something real, something mine, and I don't need you lording it over Elise's family about how you helped me. I earned this. Earned it. I let out a short laugh. With what money exactly? Remind me again who makes your loan payments. Who bought your initial equipment? Men, I should take notes on your version of earning things. Sounds way easier than actually paying for stuff. Whatever, he hissed. Just because you write some checks doesn't mean you get to be part of my life. You chose to leave. You chose Colorado over family. Don't act surprised when family chooses not to include you. I left for a job. Genius, I said, keeping my voice casual. A job that apparently funds your life. Consider this my resignation as your personal ATM. He looked around frantically. Keep your voice down. Elise's family is inside. Oh, right. The family you've been bullshitting. Should we go chat with them about your self-made success story? I bet they'd love to hear how the business was actually built. His face paled. You wouldn't? I straightened my jacket and gave him my best customer service smile. Watch me. I walked past Mason toward the venue entrance. The security guy tried to stop me, but something in my voice, or maybe the look in my eyes, warned him not to push it. Inside, the venue was gorgeous, money everywhere, partly my money, sent home for important family expenses. I saw Elise standing with an older couple who had to be her parents. Mason rushed in behind me with our parents close behind. Jake, don't do this, he pleaded quietly, grabbing my arm. I shook him off. By now, people were staring. The music faltered. Heads turned. Elise spotted Mason, then me, her smile shifting to confusion. She started walking over, her parents following. Mason, is everything okay? She asked. Who's this? Mason's face was a mask of panic. This is, Jake. I'm his brother. I finished for him. His only brother. Actually, strange. We haven't met before. Confusion crossed her face. Brother? I thought, you said your brother was a distant cousin who moved away years ago. That's not exactly, Mason started. Not exactly true. I finished. I'm not distant, and I'm definitely not a cousin. I'm the guy whose name is on the loan for Mason's detailing business. The business he claims he built from scratch without any help. Elise's father stepped forward. What's he talking about? Mason. Mason looked sick. Mr. Parker, I can explain. He's saying I co-signed the $40 zero loan that started his business. I said, I put down $15, 000 of my own money for equipment, and for 4 years, I've been making the payments because he never has. The room had gone completely silent. Even the string quartet had stopped. I'm also the guy who apparently helped pay for this wedding without knowing it. My mother asked me for money for family expenses 6 months ago. $12.00 that went to this venue. These flowers, that dress, I said, pointing around the room. All for a wedding I wasn't even invited to. Elise looked at Mason, then his parents, then back at me. Is this true? Mason's face had gone from panic to anger. Jake, you need to leave now or what? You'll have security throw out the guy who's been bankrolling your life. The brother you're ashamed of because he doesn't fit your fake rich kid narrative. Mr. Parker's face had hardened. Mason, I think we need to have a conversation in private. Sir, this isn't what it looks like. Mason tried. Actually, it's exactly what it looks like. I said, he's been lying to you about who he is, about his business, about me. He didn't want me here because I know the truth. Elise was staring at Mason like she'd never seen him before. You told me you built that business yourself, that no one ever helped you. I did build it myself. Mason insisted. Then why is his name on the loan? Mr. Parker asked, his tone deadly quiet. Mason had no answer. I turned to go. My point was made. The damage was done. But before I reached the door, I heard Elise say something that stopped me in my tracks. The wedding's off. The aftermath and the future. I didn't stick around for the fallout. I didn't need to. I felt hollow, like I'd finally won a game that had been rigged against me. But the prize wasn't worth it. Outside, the June sunshine seemed too cheerful. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Aunt Linda, how could you embarrass the family like this after everything they've done for you? Uncle Rob, real men support their brothers, not tear them down. Cousin Ryan, dude, what the actual hell is wrong with you? Mason's been crying for an hour. The family group chat was titled Jake's Meltdown. Adorable. Expecting basic human decency made me the unstable one. My favorite was from Cousin Steph, whose car down payment I'd helped with last year, who wrote, always knew Jake had issues. Remember how he wouldn't let Mason borrow his car in high school, conveniently forgetting he'd turned my bike into modern art and never replaced it. They had selective memory. The only thing they remembered was when I had the audacity to say no. I closed my phone and kept walking. Footsteps behind me. It was Tara, the cousin whose Facebook post had alerted me. We'd been close kids. Jake. Wait, she called. I stopped, suddenly tired. What? Tara. She caught up, out of breath. I didn't know, she said, about any of it. About the loan. About the money for the wedding. I swear. But you knew I wasn't invited. She looked down. Yeah, I did. They told everyone you couldn't make it because of work, that you were too busy. I laughed bitterly. And everyone just believed that. No one thought to ask me directly. I'm sorry, she said, looking like she meant it. I should have called you. I didn't want to get in the middle. Too late for that now. She nodded, then hugged me. For what it's worth, I think what you did took guts. Mason's been different since he met Elise, like he's been playing a part. What are you going to do now? She asked. Go back to my hotel. Fly home tomorrow. Get on with my life. And Mason, your parents? I shrugged. That's up to them. As I drove away, my phone started blowing up. My mom, my dad, Mason, text messages, voicemails. I didn't read or listen to any of them. Just kept driving. Windows down. Around 8 p.m., there was a knock at my hotel room door. My parents stood there, looking older, defeated, but with anger in their eyes. May we come in? My mom asked stiffly. I stepped aside. They didn't sit. You've ruined everything, my dad said without preamble. The Parkers called off the wedding. They're demanding their money back. Mason's devastated. I ruined everything, I repeated. That's rich. You could have just let it go. My mom said, was your pride really worth destroying your brother's chance at happiness? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This isn't about pride. It's about years of being used, being lied about, being erased. It's about my own family treating me like an ATM instead of a person. We never asked for that much. My dad argued, it's not about the amount. It's that you asked it all for a wedding I wasn't even invited to. It's that Mason has been lying about me, about himself, about everything. He was trying to make something of himself. My mom insisted. The Parkers have connections. This could have set him up for life. So that makes it okay to pretend I don't exist. To lie about who paid for his business. They had no answer. Where is Mason now? At our house. My dad said, probably crying into his pillow. Thanks to you. Has he called the bank yet to get my name off that loan? My mom looked confused. What? No, of course not. There's been a crisis. Jake, a crisis he created by lying. I pointed out, and neither of you seem to care about that part. My dad shook his head. You've always been jealous of Mason, always resented him for being more social, more likable. I stared at my father in disbelief. Is that really what you think? That I'm jealous of my brother? I helped him. I supported him. I wanted him to succeed. I just didn't want to be treated like garbage in return. You've always been dramatic. My mom said dismissively, making everything into a bigger deal than it needs to be. And that's when I knew nothing I could say would ever make them see my side. In their eyes, I would always be the problem, the difficult son, the one who didn't fit their narrative. I think you should go, I said quietly. Jake, my mom started. No, tell Mason he has 30 days to get my name off that loan, or I'm calling the bank myself. As for you two, don't contact me again. You've made your choice clear. My dad's face hardened. You don't mean that. I've never meant anything more in my life. They left without another word, just walked out, leaving me alone to deal with the fallout of their choices. I sat back down on the bed. picked up my forgotten steak, now cold, and felt a strange sense of peace wash over me. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. Moving forward, it's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks of silence from my family. No calls from Mason about the loan. No texts from my parents asking how I am. Just nothing. But I'm okay with that. Better than okay. Actually, back in Colorado, the mountains seem clearer somehow. Like my vision improved. I can see the peaks better. Appreciate the view from my apartment more. I've been reflecting on how much energy I've spent trying to keep connections with people who saw me as nothing more than a safety net. Yesterday, I called the bank and started the process of removing myself from Mason's loan. It'll hurt my credit, but less than if he defaults. The bank officer said something that stuck with me. Family loans are the worst kind. Money and blood don't mix well. I also did something I should have done years ago. I blocked their numbers, all of them, Mom, Dad, Mason, not out of anger anymore, but because I need a clean break to move forward. It's like amputating a limb that's gone gangrenous. Hurts like hell, but it's the only way to heal. Tara called once to check on me. She said Mason and Elise are talking things through and might still get married, just with a smaller ceremony and less lying. Apparently, Mr. Parker was willing to forgive the deception if Mason came clean and started making his own loan payments. Elise was torn, embarrassed, but still in love with him. Tara asked if I'd consider reconciling. I told her some bridges can't be rebuilt once they're burned. This is one of them. The strangest part, I don't feel sad anymore. I thought cutting off my family would feel like losing a limb. Instead, it feels like putting down a weight I've been carrying so long I forgot it was there. My coworkers have noticed the difference. My boss mentioned I seem lighter somehow, more focused. He said I'm being considered for another promotion, heading up our new project in Seattle. A woman from accounting, Amy, smart, funny, doesn't take any nonsense, asked me out for coffee yesterday. I said yes. We're going rock climbing this weekend. I know there are people who will say I went too far. That family is family, and you should forgive them no matter what. But those people haven't lived my life. Haven't had the people who are supposed to love them the most treat them like an inconvenient truth. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to keep forgiving. It's to finally say enough and walk away. So, that's what I'm doing. Walking away, not because I'm running from my problems, but because I'm finally running toward my own life.